I'll be back. I'm gonna go get me some coffee, light a candle, and I'll be back. There you go. All right, I'm back. Got my coffee, got my candle lit, and now it's time to do my predictions. Been a busy week, sort of. All right, I haven't even went over who I thought was going to win or anything yet, but here's the listing, and got everything set up. Ready to go. So welcome to the channel. Welcome to Kryptonite Core. Hope you are having a tremendous week. I am having an all right week, especially with this. It tastes okay. Tastes a little funky. All right. Don't really expect anybody to show up, but I'm going to do what I have to do. Just try this out for a year and see what happens. All right. Nothing special. Nothing crazy. All right. Give me 1 second. All right, so last week we had several good matches. What's going on, Dark Web? And praise the Lord. Yes, praise the Lord. Got my verse of the day up, and feel great about that. Feel inspired about that. I've been trying to do that all week long, but YouTube is a little finicky, a little strange, and half the time I don't really care for it because half the time I don't send my dang videos out. So it's really frustrating. So that's why I don't expect anybody to show up to my live streams. I don't expect anybody to do anything because, I'm a nobody. So, yeah. But I try. I do my dearest and darndest every single day. Greetings from Germany. Wow, that's nifty. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Kryptonite Core. If you're new to the channel, have no fear because John Woods is here. I'm ready to direct you all from, well, today we're talking NFL, we're talking football, but we can talk about anything. Because if you have a question or you want to bring a topic to the light, put it in the comments and I'll get around to it. ASAP. ASAP. Good night. Well, hey, sleep well, all right? So last week I did my predictions for the NFL, and I think I did horrible. All right? I think I did pretty bad. So with my handy dandy pen, all right, you see this pen right here, the Findus. Come on, focus on the pen. Yes, focuses. That pen right there is mighty fine. It's gonna take me all over the place, all right? But right now it's making me lose everything, all the fibers of my being. I'm losing because I got a lot of these wrong this week. All right, so okay, so we're gonna put this counter up here again. Correct. I think, well, yeah, that's what I thought, because that's not all how you spell that. Okay. All right, here we go. So originally I predicted that the Patriots were going to beat the Jets last Thursday. Okay. Aaron Rodgers is a bad, bad man. Stephen A speaks very fondly of this because Aaron Rodgers can come out of nowhere and he can just take out another team swiftly and very energetically. He did exactly that to the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett is a pretty good quarterback, a decent quarterback. He was in the same locker room as Tom Brady at one particular time multiple years ago. He learned a lot. And in this particular instance, I did choose Jacoby Brissett's Patriots because I felt like they had it more together. But they did not. They failed miserably, and I got that one wrong because the Jets picked up a huge victory and got the huge W over the Patriots. I also got a whole bunch more wrong because the Bears and the Colts, in my opinion, had the best game of the week. I believe this because Caleb Williams did incredible things on that field on that particular evening in Indianapolis. Just amazing. Threw for 363 yards. 363 yards. He did an amazing job. 2 touchdowns. Yes, he did throw 2 interceptions, but he did an amazing job at his performance level. Went from where it looked like in the first 2 weeks where he was nervous and he didn't know what to do and how to react and how to act to swooping straight past that and getting 2 touchdowns, being the first rookie quarterback to get a touchdown, and not only 1 but 2. Then he would be followed up later in the week, which would be also on Monday Night Football, when the good old-fashionable Redskins, or known now as the Commanders, would defeat the Bengals. where Jalen Daniels would also throw 2 um, passing touchdowns, which is amazing because and I got both of those wrong. So I mean, because I picked the Bears over the Colts, and I picked the Redskins over the Bengals, and got both of those incorrect. I also picked the Tennessee Titans over the Packers, and the Packers beat them. And Malik Willis is looking good. He's looking sharp on that field. He's looking sharp, and he looks like he means business. I think that he's going to be a major player going forward, but it's going to be interesting. I wish people would stop banging on the damn walls. I wish people would stop banging on the. I'm ready to go knock somebody out. Okay, so because somebody keeps banging on the damn walls. Just drink coffee, John. Just drink the coffee. Man, I hate when people just bang on the damn walls. Anyways, so the Tennessee Titans looked like they were going to do well this week, and they did not. They did not do well whatsoever. The Packers did their deal. All right, they did their deal, and Malik Willis actually. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting case. Like that's what I was saying before. Neighbor started banging on the damn wall. Is that when Jordan Love is actually cleared to compete again, it's going to be interesting to see what the Packers actually do. Are they going to keep Malik Willis, who's winning games and doing well at winning games? Are they going to keep him being the starter quarterback, or are they actually going to switch their eyes and their objective to having Malik be the starter? That's going to be interesting. Right now, they're winning. They got a big challenge this upcoming weekend, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I got that one wrong as well. I also picked the Chargers over the Steelers, and Justin Fields for the Pittsburgh Steelers is looking good. He also got a passing touchdown as well. He did, I think he got like 205 yards passing, which is good. It's probably, well, it's most certainly more than most of his passing attempts with the Chicago Bears last year. Justin Herbert for the Chargers looked all right, but he didn't look great. He also was dealing with injuries and didn't look particularly good. So I got that one wrong as well. Okay. Oh boy, I got a lot of these wrong. Then we go to the game that was basically 2 defensive powers fighting it out. We had the Saints and the Eagles, and one of my supervisors was like, I would fire the head coach. And I'm thinking, your head coach got you to this point. I don't think that's the right decision. I think that's a dumb decision to fire the head coach for that particular reason. For when you go for, like, he missed opportunities to go for field goals, and then he goes for a 60-yard field goal and such. The Eagles did mess up, but I don't think it was big enough to get rid of their head coach or anybody at the, because they themselves have done incredible ever since they hired their head coach. I can't think of his name, but So I chose the Saints because I felt like the Saints defense and also the progression of what Derek Carr was bringing to the table was going to be better and grander than what the Eagles were doing. I feel like they were going to shut down the Eagles, and they did. They did shut down those Eagles, but they could have made the game a little more interesting. But the game was just it was defensive. That was what it was. Which there's nothing wrong with defensive games, but sometimes they're just boring. Okay, so I got that one wrong as well. It's just a whole bunch of wrongs. The Texans. So Texans took on the Vikings. The Vikings look great. Sam Darnold has looked like a totally different quarterback. It's like, what happened? Because when he first came to the league and got drafted by the Jets a few years back, he looked like garbage. Threw interceptions. A lot of those interceptions led to his demise. And I'd say that when J.J. McCarthy came down with his injury, I was wondering who was going to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings, And when they said that it was going to be Sam Darnold, I was like, Sam Darnold. How in the heck is he going to make this team thrive? How the heck is he going to make this team look anything incredible, or make them look like a threat? And guess what? At the end of the day, he has made the team look great because he's actually number one in passing touchdowns by any quarterback in the league, and he's done incredible things. So, mad props to him, I guess. But the Texans, I was actually shocked because C.J. Stroud gave this like speech to Caleb Williams after the Texans beat Caleb and the Chicago Bears the week before, which I got that one. I got that one right because I picked the Texans to beat the Bears. But he gave him that prep talk, and then the next week he gets knocked out cold by the good old Vikings. I was thinking, well, I mean, don't get too cocky, Just stay calm, stay settle, and do your best. Like don't like our worst enemy is comparing ourselves to somebody else because we should not be comparing ourselves to somebody else because their progression level may be elsewhere. They may be more advanced in certain skill sets, and so we can't compare ourselves to somebody else. So we gotta look to our own skill set to just enhance. So I got that one wrong. Vikings and Texans. No. I got this next one wrong too. At the Broncos. See, Bo Nix, he's doing all right. He's doing okay. But the team overall is doing pretty damn good. They have a really sharp defense. That defense has stopped many teams, but this time it really stopped them dead dry. Like the Buccaneers couldn't get anything rolling. They couldn't get anything going at all. And I did pick the Buccaneers to beat the Broncos because I thought Baker Mayfield and Godfrey and Evans and the rest of the squad were going to do tremendous things and we're going to just cruise straight and get another W. That didn't happen. The Broncos defense shut him down. They went straight after Baker and they cut his head off pretty much. And they did a tremendous job winning the game and making themselves look like a dominant threat without Russell Wilson. Which is a huge factor because, Russell Wilson probably wants to be the starting quarterback at the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think that he should just sit on the side and wait because, and actually, hell, I wouldn't even say he needs to wait. I think he needs to be drafted to another team that needs a quarterback. There's a few teams that need quarterbacks, and yeah, so yeah, we're going to go with that. I got one right. Okay, so we got the Giants. I did pick over the Browns, and it was a decent matchup. But the Giants have been slobber knocking, beating the holy heck out of people. So the first week, they didn't do anything. All right, they didn't do jack crap. Okay, they look like the old Giants. Okay, week number 2, which is what I had up first. I had week 2 up first, but week 2 they looked incredible. Okay, they looked good. Okay, and looking back at my notes, who the heck did they play? What the heck? I know they lost, but they played the Redskins. That's who it was. What the heck? So they played the Redskins, and it was a good matchup. But in that particular fight, on that particular occasion, I thought that the Giants looked better and more primed and more positioned, even though they lost the game itself. They lost that game against the Commanders. And so I was like, well, but I was optimistic because the Browns don't look that great. Deshaun Watson doesn't look like he's syncing up with the team. He looks like he's seeing one thing, but the rest of the squad is seeing something totally different. And Deshaun Watson, if this is like a failed experiment with the Cleveland Browns, it's going to be his last experiment because of all the allegations and everything that's come out with Deshaun Watson. I think it's going to be where he exits the NFL and goes elsewhere. So I got that one wrong. Okay. Now, I did get the Seahawks over the Dolphins correct. The Dolphins are currently suffering because their actual starting quarterback is currently out with an severe concussion. And they want to be cautious about this because um, he's had multiple severe concussions and has been out several times because of this kind of thing. And so we really shouldn't really go back to the drawing board when it comes to this kind of thing because concussions are very serious, and not just in football, but any kind of sport. They're very serious, and when you get the heck knocked out of you, and you don't remember, or you cannot visualize, or you cannot do certain things, like get off the football field, you sort of need to be take a little bit of time away and potentially think about retirement or think about just stepping away altogether. And so the Seahawks, I envisioned that they were going to dominate because I figured that Skylar Thompson, who's now the starting quarterback for the Dolphins, was not going to do well. I figured that he was going to do bad, and he did. He did pretty bad. Okay, so Ravens over the Cowboys, I got correct as well. The Cowboys, to me, see, you look at teams that should be good, like teams that have the weapons, that have the potential. The Cowboys have the weapons. They have the potential. They have, they have one quarterback that is above average, and you're still losing games. Okay, so it's not about just winning winning games. It's also about winning games in a good, way, in a good manner, I guess. The Cowboys have looked like complete trash. That's some good coffee. Finally, I like it. It's not bad. It still tastes a little funky. But the Cowboys, to me, see, tonight we got I'll get to that in a second. We had the Giants and the Cowboys 1-on-1 tomorrow night. The Cowboys, to me, look like a complete joke. I mean, they do got CeeDee Lamb, woo! And you do have a good quarterback in Dak Prescott, woo! And you have other things that could have gone your way. But overall, I think the team's overrated. And I think the team needs to be smacked around a little bit. So, I'm happy the Ravens won. It would have been funny. It would have been dead hilarious if the Baltimore Ravens would go into week number 4 and they are 0-3. They've lost every single game because it's like a flip of the switch where Lamar Jackson wanted the respect, wanted the caveats, and he wanted to be treated like a king, and then he loses every single game. He is a very good player, but you got a lot of dominant personalities on the Baltimore Ravens, where you got Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, who both want to run the ball. They both want to be dominant in that fashion, and they're both doing good, but they both want that top spot on the team, being a rusher. And so it's a little bit, what's going to happen kind of thing. The Raiders over the Panthers did not take place. The Gardner Minshew, he looked okay in the contest. He looked good in the contest, but he looked like he was not prepared for what Andy Dalton was about to bring to him, the wrath that Andy Dalton was going to do. Andy Dalton is the 37-year-old guy who had plenty of time to build up the Cincinnati Bengals when he was their head quarterback for many, many years before Joe Burrow took over. But the thing is, he did incredible just the way he was, all right? When he came to the Carolina Panthers, dominated, just completely dominated the Raiders. The Raiders didn't stand a chance. 3 passing touchdowns, over 300 yards. The first quarterback to do that this year. So, tremendous. 49ers with the Rams. I also got that one wrong. Okay, so that one was, oh man, I got all these wrong. No. So that one was a close battle. Matthew Stafford and Brock Purdy didn't have a pretty game at all, but it was a great game. It was tremendous. This is what type of game you want to see, especially between two teams that are really, really good. The 49ers are right now in their key stage. key development. One of their wide receivers, I believe, is out for a couple more weeks, and then another one of their wide receivers, Brandon, he just signed a multi-year deal with them, multi-million-dollar deal. So that's great. But the Rams just outsmarted them, I guess, and they also used their time management a little bit more effectively in towards the end of the game to secure that victory. The Rams are secretly good, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Week 4 when they take on the Chicago Bears, which I'm a huge Bears fan. Not a huge Bears fan. I'm a medium-sized Bears fan, I guess. And I'm hoping just for a good matchup because the Chicago Bears and um, the good old Rams will have a tremendous matchup. So, and Matthew has a lot of history with the Chicago Bears. The Cardinals and the Lions. I gotta check and see who won that one. I can't remember exactly who won that damn game. Oh, I got it wrong. Yay. Man. So I got that one wrong too. That one, I really don't remember much about that one, to be honest. But I got it wrong. Bills of the Jags. Okay. So when I read that one, I automatically thought this is going to be a one-sided contest. This is going to be a one-sided contest because, yeah, Josh Allen's playing his best football, and James Cook is playing his best football, and Trevor Lawrence looks like he does not belong on the Jacksonville Jaguars. He belongs somewhere else, but the Jacksonville Jaguars may have just signed him to a new deal a couple years ago, but I think Trevor Lawrence deserves better. That's just my opinion, but I think that he deserves a heck of a lot better. He's top notch. He's a spectacle, but Trevor Lawrence with the Jacksonville Jaguars looks like trash, looks like garbage, and is not going to succeed at all. He's always going to be on these teams that you want to root for, but you just can't. So they got destroyed by the Bills. I don't have a score like pulled up, but I can easily. It was 47-10. That's just dreadful. And I believe, let's see, I can even look at the statistics of the game real quick. Mainly for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen threw 4 touchdowns and got over 263 yards. So there's not too many quarterbacks this season to throw 4 touchdowns. The Falcons over the Chiefs I also got wrong because, I thought the Falcons were going to upset them because they upset the Eagles the week before. And I thought they were going to be like this difference-making team, but that didn't happen. The Chiefs played the cards correctly, especially with time management towards the end of the game, and they won the damn thing. So, correct 4. Not correct. Oh, wait, yeah. Same amount of games, so 16 games total. So I got 4 correct, and I got 12 incorrect. Okay, so we're going to do better this week. Okay. So I'm going to put my pen up and get my pencil. Okay. All right. And basically, I don't know how long I'm going to be on here, but I'm just going to go through the things. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do a live stream where I'm talking about scripture or talking about a verse or a set of verses. Yeah. Okay. And then, let's see. All right. So first, we have the Cowboys at the Giants tomorrow for Thursday night football. Who do you think's going to win? If I had more people watching, I would, make a little thing and say, "Hey, who do you think's going to win?" Just threw up in my mouth. That's nice. Okay, so I said earlier that the Cowboys just look like trash. I said to a colleague today at work, I said, I think that the Giants are going to I think they're going to beat the Cowboys. And he was like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. I said, well, I think it's going to happen. So I'm going to pick the Giants to beat the Cowboys. So, and I know it might be a mistake, but just my gut. I may eat that, but we're gonna test things out and see what happens. That will be September 29th. Now, technically, I don't need to put the date, but I do because that's just who I am. Okay, so Sunday football, the 1 o'clock games. The first one is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, so I'm going to go off of what happened the week before. So also with the Giants and the Cowboys, the week before the Cowboys got humiliated by the Ravens. Okay, they got humiliated. The Giants won a game over the Browns, and the Giants looked good. The Cowboys looked like trash. Okay. Okay, so we see progression. Okay, we see progression on both teams. So the Giants look like they're improving. Okay, improving. Daniel Jones still looks like trash. Daniel Jones looks like straight trash. Okay, however, I would say on a comparison level, he looks like he is improving. I can see some kind of improvement with his throwing status and the way he does things on the field because he's winning games and he's winning games in a good way. He's also being cohesive with his teammates and it's looking good. The Cowboys, however, the cohesiveness seems like it's an afterthought. Okay, Dak, I think is overhyped and overanalyzed, and I don't think he's that great at all. So my thoughts are that um, Giants are going to upset the Cowboys. Um, I'm not a Giants fan. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm going to pick the better team in my eye, and I think that the Giants are going to do the impossible and they're going to beat those Cowboys. All right. And also, it's nice to hear what's his name get on TV and start, oh, my Cowboys. Who cares about your Cowboys, to be honest. So it is what it is, right? So on Sunday Night Football, we have the Eagles and we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which seems like on paper, which I haven't written it down yet, but on paper it seems like a really mighty fine matchup between two teams that are Super Bowl contenders and seem like they have it all together. Well, the week before, the Eagles had this tough battle with the Saints, with those two defensive teams going at it toe to toe, and Eagles missed a few opportunities, and they would come out on top over the Saints, while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, woo, they got their rears busted, didn't they? They got decimated. Okay. Now, again, in review, The Broncos are the team. So some of this stuff I can remember, but a lot of it I can't. So the Broncos beat the holy heck out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. This particular matchup, the Eagles are particularly they're going to be missing possibly both of their starting wide receivers. So that's a factor to put in this whole comparison. Um, they look okay. Even without those two wide receivers, they look all right. But I'm going to have to stick with my heart, stick with my gut, and I'm thinking that the Buccaneers are going to jump back from what happened the previous week. Because I think what happened the previous week was just a little blemish. Now, with blemishes, you need to realize what happened, and you need to stand up and walk the other way. All right, or you can walk straight through that blemish. So I'm going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Eagles. All right, next 1 o'clock game, we have the Saints versus the Falcons. Okay, so I just mentioned the Saints and the Eagles have this defensive, two defensive teams going at it. The Falcons are not really like, I wouldn't say they're the most defensive team all time, all right, especially in the league today. This could go one of two ways. The Falcons have been a team that's gotten close with a lot of teams. You could look at what they did with the Chiefs just last week. Okay, so and I got that one wrong, but the Falcons they also did the same thing with the Eagles and stuff too. They upset the Eagles. They beat them. Okay. So I think they could beat Derek Carr and the Saints, but I think the Saints are going to do similar fashion to what the Buccaneers did, and they're going to beat them. What the heck does that say? Like, hello? I mean, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Kryptonite Core. But what the heck did you say? I don't know. I don't know what you said. I don't speak that. I don't know what that is. So I can't respond if I don't know what it is. But hello, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Kryptonite Core. And tonight I'm doing an NFL prediction video. I might do scripture readings and stuff in the near future with me actually doing a live stream of that, but I don't know. But welcome to the channel. You're already gone, but welcome. So Saints could bounce back. The Falcons could pick up another massive upset. Either way, we're going to have a good game. Okay. So starting, the quarterbacks are going to be Kirk Cousins for the Falcons, and we have Drew Carr for the Saints. I just have this feeling that the Saints are going to bounce back, and they're going to make a big impact against the Falcons, and they're going to do it in a big way. So I think I'm going to select the Saints bouncing back and defeating the Falcons. Even though I have this little slight bit that's telling me to pick the Falcons over the Saints because I figured like there's going to be some kind of upset. But I'll stick with my gut. Because we got bounced back from losing every one of those predictions last week, or a lot of them. Next 1 o'clock game, we have the Minnesota Vikings at Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers and Malik Willis have looked good together, especially after the Tennessee Titans dropped the ball big time with Malik and trading him away. Dumb move. Minnesota Vikings are currently undefeated, undeniable, and they're doing good. Sam Darnold looks amazing. Also, here's another key factor as well with this whole entire premise that the Minnesota Vikings not only have had a good defense and an offense as well. That's something you got to be, look at as what they've had a good offense and defense. And, the Packers, their defense has been good as well. I think I'm going to pick the Vikings. I think the dominance in their defense is going to just continue, and it's going to shine through with every single thing that they do. Next, we have at 1 o'clock we have the LA Rams versus the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Um, Chicago Bears had them and the Indianapolis Colts last week had game of the week, in my opinion. They had game of the week. And so I think that that's going to continue. I think the Rams and the Bears are going to have game of the week. I think it's going to be another close game. Um, I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Caleb Williams, like, he's getting more comfortable. And Caleb Williams needs to know that Rome is going to be his guy. Like, Keenan Allen, to me, is a bust in Chicago simply because, um, this is week number 4. Like, people, this is week 4. We need to have people play the game of football. We need people to be committed to playing in the NFL. And Keenan Allen's been injured the first 3 weeks. Okay. And I know injuries happen, injuries come and injuries go, but if you're not going to be playing, then you might as well just get the hell off the team. So especially since they thought this was going to be a huge deal picking up Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen has yet to do anything with the team. So I know that Matthew Stafford has a lot of history with the Chicago Bears, and he's going to, that game is going to be tremendous just because itself. Rams are currently missing Cooper Kupp, which last week they did tremendous things against the 49ers. But I think that this is the type of game that's going to certify and really put that stamp of approval that the Chicago Bears are just exactly who they say that they are much better and that they are improving week by week. And this is a game that's going to make them look like somewhat contenders. So I'm picking the Chicago Bears to defeat the Rams. I think this is possibly one of the better games of the week. Now, Saints and Falcons can be a really good game, but it's defense versus offense. And, with Kamara, it's going to be like one-sided. But this, to me, that's going to be one of the best games of the week. So next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Panthers in Carolina. Give me 1 second. We'll drink me some coffee. Try to cool my throat. My throat strings. That's pretty good coffee. Okay, so we got Cincinnati versus good old Carolina. Okay, so my thoughts on Andy Dalton and what he did with Carolina last week. So in one way, it's great that Andy Dalton came in there and he cleaned house and he got 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards, and he was the first quarterback this year to do such a thing. But the other side of me is like, man, this really makes Bryce Young look like trash, like total garbage. Okay, so it does. It makes him look like total trash because he comes onto this team, he gets drafted, and everybody's like, he is the star. He's the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. He comes onto this team, and he gets all the people watching. Then he throws interception after interception, and then when he gets replaced by a man who's pretty much a legend in Andy Dalton, he gets replaced by Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton just outshines him. Okay, so some people were like, this is a good way for Andy Dalton to like build up Mr. Rice. And then the other way you look at this is that just made him look like total garbage. So they're more likely now to trade him and get rid of him and get some picks for him before it's too late. Now, Cincinnati last week, they had a good game. Okay, they had a really good game. Now, was it as good as the Panthers week? No, because the Panthers they dominated. Andy Dalton is normally not like that crazy. Like when Andy Dalton was in his prime in Cincinnati, okay, which is funny, he's actually going to be playing Cincinnati this week. when he was in his prime, when Cincinnati, he had some of the best weapons a man could ask for. Okay, his number one wide receiver at that time was AJ Green. AJ Green was not green whatsoever. AJ Green was a certified, master. Okay, at being wide receiver, he was a total legend. Okay, and my thing is that this game is going to basically be Andy Dalton versus his old team. Okay, and we're going to see possibly the old Andy Dalton come back out. Okay, so the old Andy Dalton threw interceptions. The old Andy Dalton was not pitch perfect. When you compare like old quarterbacks, you look at like Geno Smith when he first got into the NFL, and even a few years after that, he was horrible. Then he got brought back by the Seattle Seahawks, and he has done all right. Fast forward, you do that same thing here, and Andy Dalton before was just not. He was above average, but he was always the type of quarterback that's going to take you to the playoffs, but not take you to the Super Bowl, because he would always get knocked out. Okay, so I think that this is going to be a really good game between Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton. Um, just a reminder that Joe Burrow last week in the Bengals had a tremendous contest, and actually the first game in a long time, I can't remember exactly, with the Redskins, aka the Commanders. Um, so it was the first game where there was no punts or um, what's the other one? Punts or whatever. So Bengals to me are mid class. Like Tiggy Higgins is returning back to football. Um, and so they could pick up a victory. Um, I think that Andy Dalton's going to continue doing his best. Um, but there has to be some kind of like mind games or something with him playing his old team. But I'm going to choose the Panthers over the Bengals. Something tells me, he's going to get sort of a little bit of payback on his team. Now, not really for picking Joe Burrow over him, but just that, he's just as good as Joe Burrow, pretty much. At the moment. Okay. So then you have the Jaguars versus the Texans. The Texans sort of need to jump back a little bit. So they had a couple weeks ago, they had a tremendous contest with the Chicago Bears. Last week, they got their rear ends beat by the Vikings badly. Okay, Vikings look great. Okay, Jaguars, on the other hand, you see that they're like Trevor Lawrence is trying and giving his all, and it's not working. It's not panning out any week. Okay, so I think the Houston Texans, are going to bounce back after that week of failure. And they realized real quick what their mistakes were, and they're going to try to fix them before it becomes too much of a hassle, too much of a problem. Later you go in the season, more of a problem becomes. So I have to go with the Houston Texans defeating the Jaguars. The writing is on the wall. Okay. We have the Broncos and the Jets. So last week, Aaron Rodgers, I predicted him and the Jets to basically fail miserably and to not walk out with their head held high and to lose. Okay. Aaron Rodgers looks pretty solid. Okay. Broncos last week, they dominated. Okay. Their defense showed up. They looked good. Bo Nix looks like he's all right. But There's a few analytics that say that he's going to be the most thriving quarterback. I don't think so. I think it's going to be Caleb or Jalen Daniels. Um, so this game's going to be good, but I think it's going to be, we got a rookie quarterback and Bo Nix taking on legendary quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers over Bo Nix. So I'm going to pick the Jets over the Broncos, and the Jets are going to bounce back and I believe be 2-2 at this particular junction. Okay. Next 1:00 game is, and this is actually the last 1:00 game. We actually have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, so my biggest gripe with the Indianapolis Colts right now is that their quarterback Richardson he's doing good. Okay, so but he turns the ball over a little much, and on top of that, he doesn't get over 200 yards most times. Okay, he's sort of like the opposite of Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams finally got bold, finally got courageous, and finally started passing the ball a little bit farther, gaining trust in his teammates and gaining trust in himself. Okay, so in the same sense like that, I figured that Richardson needs to gain more trust in himself and his teammates. The Colts are a pretty, you can see that they're improving, and in a couple of years they're going to be top notch. Okay, or they have the potential to be top notch. The ball's in their court if that takes place. The Pittsburgh Steelers are currently undefeated, and I think that this game's potentially going to be one of the better games this week because you got Justin Fields and Richardson, two younger quarterbacks, and I think that it's going to be just the dynamics of these quarterbacks are going to outreach than what a lot of their quarterbacks have to offer. I think, though, the Steelers obviously are undefeated. The Colts need a victory. They need a win. They need to stay in the hunt for that top spot or even a wild card spot, right? And I know the season is just beginning, but the season will be over in a blink of an eye. So I think that the Colts need the victory more, but at the end of the day, I don't think that they're going to pull out the victory in this contest. They barely beat the Bears, all right? So the Bears should have won that match. But I think the Steelers are going to prevail. And I think the Steelers are going to be still undefeated. And I'll go back on that at the end about the teams that are still undefeated. Because there's 5 teams, 5 that are still undefeated and undeniable. And we got to look at those, and we got to, I'm not going to adjust anything, but I'm going to pick the Steelers over the Colts. But I think that's going to be possibly one of the better games this week as well. Okay, so we got, I believe, just two 4:05 games. The first 4:05 game is the Patriots versus the Niners. Niners lost a really good game to the Rams. Okay, it was probably one of the better games, one of the best, the top 5 games of the week. The Niners could have won that game easily. They could have won it. They didn't lose by much. It was a very competitive fight. Okay, Patriots, however, they got their rear ends beat. Okay, and they got beat pretty bad. I'm gonna have to go with Niners over the Patriots. It's common sense, I guess. Because originally last week I chose the Patriots to beat the Jets. I should have went with Aaron over Jacoby Brissett easily. So, yeah. So sometimes you got to go over the whole team, but then sometimes if it's quarterback to quarterback comparison, so Niners over Patriots. Okay. And the last 4:05 game, we have the Redskins and the Cardinals. The Cardinals so at the beginning of the season, they impressed me. So the Cardinals had these competitive matches against competitive teams and teams that are already labeled top notch. Okay, but last week they sort of fell off that a little bit. Now they did have this it was a competitive matchup with the Lions. But to me, it didn't feel as competitive as the previous 2 weeks. Because the previous 2 weeks, week number 2, they looked super duper dominant. They looked really good. It was like the connection between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. was like on par. It was like very connected. And then the first week, they looked like they were just toying with, the Bills a little bit, and they looked like they were enjoying themselves. Okay, you go into this past week, and it looks like it was a back and forth competitive fight, but at the end of the day, it looked like Kyler Murray was just a little outplayed there. You fast forward to this matchup, you have the Redskins or the Commanders, who are improving, but they're just not improving fast enough. Okay, so basically, what I'm saying is that the Commanders are just going to get outplayed in this match. They're going to get beat. Okay, they're going to get beat. Okay, pretty badly. I think this is actually going to be it's going to be a decent matchup because I think that Jalen Daniels is possibly going to throw another two touchdown passes again. But I also believe that he's also going to lose by probably at least 10 points, maybe 20. Because, but the Cardinals, this could be one of those games where I'm like, this is going to happen where the Cardinals destroy the Commanders. But then it could actually be the opposite way with the Commander. But what the Commanders have shown me so far is that they're lacking a few pieces to the puzzle. So I think the Cardinals are going to dethrone and beat the Commanders. And I still put Redskins because that's what I remember them as. Okay. Then we have two 425 games. The first game is the Chiefs versus the Chargers. Okay. Patrick Mahomes, to me, maybe not. I'll tell a lot of people that hasn't happened. But to me, Patrick Mahomes does not seem like he is playing his ultimate football. He does not feel like he's playing his best football at the moment. Because normally he throws over 300. Normally he throws multiple touchdown passes in a game. Multiple touchdown passes where he's actually throwing to multiple different people, but mainly Travis Kelce, who looks also like he's dealing with some kind of minor injury. The Chargers also have similar circumstances. They were actually undefeated. They're now 2-1, but they were 2-0. Then they got lost in the shuffle, lost to the Steelers in a tremendous contest, right? Justin Herbert doesn't look the same. He doesn't look good. But when these two teams hook up, they usually have tremendous contests because Herbert and Mahomes sort of, mash well together and they play well together and they do well together. So I think that this is going to be a good game, a good solid contest between these two teams. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs are going to beat them. At the end of the day, the Chiefs are going to outshine the Chargers. They're going to make them look like crap. So the Chargers 1 week were undefeated, but then 2 weeks later they got 2-2 record, and it just is like the Chargers aren't ready, not yet. And Herbert doesn't look. He doesn't look. He looks worse off than Patrick Mahomes. So unfortunately, the reign of terror from the Chiefs is going to continue. Then the other 425 game is the Cleveland Browns versus the Raiders. Both these teams got defeated last week, and they both didn't look good in defeat. Both of them look bad. Especially the Raiders got beat by the Panthers, who look like garbage all the other 3 weeks. And so you got to look at the way things work out. So you got Gardner Minshew, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. You got Deshaun Watson, who's the starting quarterback for the Browns. Browns, their top running back is currently out with an injury, and their top wide receiver is a few different people. They have, multiple different people. And then the Raiders have, multiple different pieces of the puzzle, right? Both these teams have the potential to win this particular matchup. I think I'm just going to go with the Raiders, just because I don't really care who wins this match, and both teams suck equally. So I'm just going to say, just go with it. Go with the same pick that you were going to go with last week. So last week I picked the Raiders to win. They lost, but I'm going to pick them again this week. And Browns are going to hopefully lose. Okay. So the last game, the Sunday Night Football game, is going to be the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, who are undefeated, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, who are 2-1. And this is going to be a good, solid game. But I'd be crazy if I didn't pick the Buffalo Bills to win over the Ravens. Okay. Now, does that mean at all that the Ravens are horrible or the bad team or something? No. Ravens are good. They just have too many egos in the kitchen. Okay, so just too many people, and they're just too good for their own britches. But the Bills, see, the funny thing is, Josh Allen lost a lot of his key wide receivers, running backs, whatever, during the offseason last year. And a lot of people were like, how's Josh Allen going to do it? How is he going to, and Josh Allen's thrived. He's thrived. So I think that he's going to also thrive in the community that the Baltimore Ravens are going to bring. But I think it's going to be one of the better games that takes place next week. And it's better because it's going to be Sunday Night Football. Okay. But I think the Bills are going to beat Baltimore in Baltimore and prevail. Okay. So we've got two more games, both happening on Monday Night Football, which I think, let me check. Yes, that is. So this is going to be the last time that we actually have two games on Monday Night Football. So week 5 is when buys begin. So that's when buys start. And so the games get interesting, especially in fantasy. I'm in 12 fantasy football leagues, and things will get interesting. Okay. So the first fantasy football, the first game that we have on Monday Night Football is happening at 7:30, and it is the Tennessee Titans versus the Miami Dolphins, which both teams have complications. They have things that they need to work on, but the Tennessee Titans seem like they have a better shot on actually getting a victory. Let's see. Okay, so the Tennessee Titans have a lot to work on, but they have a lot to improve on, and they have a lot to be thankful for as well. The Dolphins have Skylar Thompson. That reason right there alone is just leaves you a little bitterness in your mouth, and makes me think that the Titans are going to pick up their first victory this season and be 1-3 with a victory over the Dolphins. So sad, but it's going to be possibly true. And then Monday Night Football ends at 8:15. Well, not at 8:15. The second game begins at 8:15. And that game is between the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. One of my coworkers said today that this is the game that will define if the Lions are good or not. I think that they are good. I think that this year they just have a little bit tougher schedule. So the Seahawks are also undefeated. They look good. Their defense looks pretty good. Their offense looks pretty good. Lions might just have too many cooks in the kitchen. I think that they're good though, and they proved that last week when they defeated the Cardinals. So I think what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna pick. Let me see here. I think I'm gonna pick the Lions to beat the Seahawks. The reasoning why is because I think that the Seahawks, I don't really have a damn reason. Who am I kidding? I'm just I like the underdog story, so yeah. So in review, and this video is slightly over an hour, but that's okay because sometimes you just don't do long live streams. Sometimes you do. So, and eventually I'll get back into doing videos of where I play video games. But tonight I'm like about to fall asleep. Anyways, in review, real quick. Thursday Night Football on September 26, 2024. I have the Giants defeating the Cowboys. All Sunday football. Starting with the Buccaneers over the Eagles, Vikings over Packers, Panthers over Bengals, Jets over Broncos, 49ers over Patriots, Chiefs over Chargers, Saints over Falcons, Bears over Rams, Texans over Jaguars, Steelers over Colts, Cardinals over Redskins, Raiders over Browns, Bills over Ravens, and then the Monday Night Football game. I have the Tennessee Titans over the Dolphins, and then the Lions over the Seahawks. Okay. Currently, we have 5 teams undefeated. 5. Okay. Okay. Let's see if any of those teams remain undefeated going into week number 5. Okay. So week number 4, I just did predictions, and we're going to go on to the next week. Okay. So the teams that are undefeated, Seahawks are undefeated, but I said that they lose to the Lions. Chiefs are undefeated. They remain undefeated. They defeat the Chargers. Bills remain undefeated. They defeat the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. The Steelers defeat the Colts, so they remain undefeated. Okay. The Vikings, which I think that's that one, I don't know. The Vikings defeat the Packers to stay undefeated. I think that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So that's all 5 teams. So one of those teams loses. Okay. Yeah, one of those teams loses, and that team's the Seahawks. And I could. Hopefully, I bounce back because last week I got 4 out of 16 correct, and then the week before I got 11 of 16 correct, where I picked Jets over Titans, Seahawks over Patriots, Redskins over Giants, Cardinals over Rams, Chiefs over Bengals, Buccaneers over Lions, Chargers over Panthers, Saints over Cowboys, Steelers over Broncos, and Texans over Bears. So, yeah. Anywho, there's my list. If anybody has any questions or anything, just hit me up. There's my workout, which I'll be doing tomorrow. Yeah, because I gotta donate plasma Friday. So, anyways, yeah, that's it. That is it. I'm gonna check a couple things, and if anybody has any question or anything, about the hurricane or anything, hit me up. you are, so nope. All right. Don't know who you are. Block. Okay. Don't know who you are, but nope. Probably stay on here. I'm just checking a couple things. If anybody has any questions or anything, just let me know. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that Jurassic Park Rebirth. All right. Yeah, they're gonna get 40-mile-an-hour winds. Jeez. All right. Yep. All right. I don't want to sit on here too long. All right. Peace out.